This is the most common trap I see. Not laziness, not lack of ability, but too much input with no filter. When information comes in without a structure attached to it, it disappears. You feel busy, you feel like you're progressing, but nothing is building. If you are from a civil, mechanical, electronics, or electrical engineering, most career content online was not made for you. It was made for CS students at IITs in Bangalore or Hyderabad. You're not in that content, and nobody has told you what your actual path looks like. Today, I am going to change that. I am going to walk you through exactly what one civil engineering student from a tier 3 college did to land a AI adjacent role. Not by becoming a coder, but by making his domain knowledge the asset. And if you follow these 5 shifts I'm going to share today, the branch on your degree stop being a problem. I'm Manish Kumar. I have spent 12 years building AI data systems for banks, insurance companies, telecom operators, and real estate firms. On this channel, I help engineering students from Tier 2 and Tier 3 college turn domain knowledge into a real career traction. Subscribe if that is you. Let's get into it. Here is what these students were doing before we spoke. He was spending 3 hours a day consuming YouTube tutorials. One video on Python, one video on machine learning, one on ChatGPT prompts, one on data science roadmaps. 6 months of this with zero projects, zero applications, and zero clarity. This is the most common trap I see. Not laziness, not lack of ability, but too much input with no filter. When information comes in without a structure attached to it, it disappears. You feel busy, you feel like you're progressing, but nothing is building. The problem was never his branch. It was that nobody had ever shown him how to connect civil engineering knowledge to an industry problem that a company would actually pay for. And that is the shift this entire video is about. Before I walk through you the 5 shifts, if this is already clicking for you, hit that like and subscribe button. I put out one video on a weekly basis specifically for non-CS engineers navigating the AI transition. It takes only 2 seconds, but it genuinely helps. Now shift number 1. He stopped building a skill list and started solving a problem. I asked him one question. Tell me one thing that goes wrong on a construction project that costs real money. He said material cost estimation. It is always wrong at the planning stage. And that answer was the beginning of everything. Because that is an actual business problem with data, with a cause, and with a consequence. We did not start with learning Python. We started with that problem and worked backwards towards the tool. The skill list follows the problem, it never leads to it. Shift number 2. His civil engineering background became the reason a hiring manager called him back. See, most students start from non-CS background, apologize for their degree in application, in interviews, and how they introduce themselves. Stop doing that. Here is what actually happened. He built a project which is a construction material cost prediction model using historical procurement data. Nothing exotic. Python for data cleaning, Power BI for the dashboard, using publicly available dataset from a government infrastructure tender portal. But the README he wrote was different from every other fresher on GitHub project. He did not write, I trained a linear regression model with 87% accuracy. On the other side, he wrote something like this. This model estimates material cost variance at a planning stage of a civil construction project. Early variance identification can reduce the budget overrun by 15 to 20% based on the project site. Same model but different framing and completely different signal to a hiring manager. A CS student cannot write that sentence with the same credibility, but he can. Shift number 3, he published one project and stopped apologizing for its simplicity. I see students wait to publish until they feel ready, until the project is in perfect condition, until they have like 5 projects. The hiring manager does not need 5 projects. They need one project that is completely complete, readable, and connected to a real problem. He pushed his project to GitHub. He posted about it on the LinkedIn. Two paragraphs. What the problem was, what he built, and what it showed. Within a week, three people he had never met commented on that post. One of them was a project manager at a mid sized construction analytics firm in Pune. That one comment led to a conversation, and that conversation led to a referral. Not a job offer, a referral into a process. And that is how the first break actually works. Not from 100 application, but from one visible thing that reaches the right person. Quick note before we move to the next shift. Everything I cover on this channel, I go deeper in my LinkedIn newsletter. It is called AI Empowered Hub. Each week, I write a detailed breakdown specifically for engineers building AI adjacent careers. Link is in the description. Subscribe if you want the full picture. Now, shift number 4. He sent 12 messages, not 200 applications. And this is where most students waste months. They apply to 150 jobs on Naukri, they hear nothing. They apply to 50 more and they hear nothing. They conclude that the market is broken. But the market is not broken, the approach is. And here is the exact message structure he used. Hi, I recently built a cost prediction model for construction project planning using open infrastructure data. I noticed your company works on a similar analytics problem. I would love to understand how your team is approaching this challenge. Would you have 20 minutes this week? See, he did not send a message like, Sir, please help me get a job. He mentioned a specific project, a specific connection to their work, and a specific small ask. He sent 12 messages like this. 7 people responded. 2 conversations became referrals. From what I have seen across the students who have done this, the volume does not matter. The specificity does. Shift number 5. He almost lost the interview while explaining the model. He won it by explaining the problem. And this one is the important one. In the interview, he was asked to walk through his project. He started explaining the regression algorithm. The interviewer stopped him and asked, what business decision does this model support? He paused, then he said, it helps a project manager decide whether to lock in the material procurement pricing in a month 1 or wait until month 2 based on the predicted variance. That one sentence landed differently than everything technical he had said before. Because that sentence showed he understood why the model existed, not just how it worked. I have seen this pattern enough times to say it clearly. The students who move from interview to offer are not always the most technically strong. They are the ones who can connect technical decisions, technical output to a business decision. And that is a skill you can learn. And it has nothing to do with your branch. Here is what to do this week. 3 steps, small and specific. Step number 1. Write down one problem from your engineering domain that costs real money. Not a textbook problem, but a real one. Step number 2. Find a public dataset connected to that problem. You can take it from government portals, Kaggle, or World Bank infrastructure data. One dataset. Step number 3. Open a free Google Colab notebook, load the data, look at it, and that's it. That is step number 3. You're not trying to build a finished project this week. You are trying to find a problem that is worth your time. Everything else will follow from that. The branch on your degree is not the barrier. The barrier is showing up without a specific problem, a specific project, and a specific story. Fix those 3 things and your branch becomes your advantage. If you want help figuring out exactly which problem to pick, which tools to learn from your specific branch, and what your 90-day plan should look like, I do a free one-to-one clarity call, 30 minutes with no pitch, just clarity on your next step. Link is in the description, but spots are well limited. See you in the next one.